Good afternoon. My name is Morgan, and I am the social worker that will be facilitating the conversation today. Thank you all so much for reaching out and responding to our request. Why don't we just go around and introduce ourselves? I mentioned my name is Morgan, and I know that y'all represent different parts of the community, so if you'd like to introduce yourselves to me as well as each other, that'd be great.
Okay, well, hello, my name is Esmeralda. I'm a third grade English teacher here in the local community at the community school, and I'm also a small business owner. I own my own cleaning business.
Thank you so much, Miss Esmeralda. And what about you, sir?
My name is Chauncey. I own a couple stockbroking firms, and I got your email about the meetings about the city planning and stuff like that. I just want to let you know that I was at the original city planning meeting. They invited me because of my businesses.
Okay, well, thank you so much for both of you coming and making time. I just wanted to be here to help facilitate a discussion to kind of see what y'all's views are right now pertaining to the possible and future changes in our community. Would you like to kind of give some insight from your perspective, Ms. Esmeralda?
Yes, so I'm a third grade teacher, and I also own a small business to make ends meet. And with the new developments and the potential developments, I'm more worried about gentrification. Because if I have to make ends meet now, I fear that I won't be able to continue to live in this community. I grew up here, I was born here.
I need to stop you, Miss Esmeralda. Are you against people coming into the neighborhood that have more resources than perhaps the people that lived there before?
What my concern is that the property value will go up. It'll be more expensive to live in a community that we've been here, for a long time. You don't properly represent us, and for us as community members to not be invited to the meetings, it was really unfortunate for us that we weren't able to get our word out about how we feel about it, or any type of knowledge for the community.
What do you think, sir?
I guess I could understand why you felt left out by the community meetings, but they invited me because I have a business. It's not because I'm special.
Do you think you have a business as well, Ms. Esmeralda?
Yeah, I have a business as well. It's much smaller than yours, but it's still a community business that puts inputs in the community, generating revenue and everything. And I just would like to know, why were we not invited to the meeting about the changing of our community?
Is there any other aspect of the community that you wanted to discuss, especially with your insight as a teacher?
Yes, the school is, they're Title I students, so they have an extreme need compared to typical students. So if that's with books or more time in the classroom or after school activities, it's very despairing, So
do you think that the potential changes might possibly affect your students?
Yes, I really think that it will impact the students negatively. Again, cost of living, some may have to move. I'm not sure what their parents do as a profession, but as a teacher, as a business owner, I still have to make ends meet with 2 jobs. So it's very stressful. I can't imagine how it is for their parents.
I see. Sir, do you think there is anything else about the economy that you wanted to bring to the table?
While I want to understand where you're coming from, more people with more money just economically could perhaps develop parts of the community. Perhaps a controlled growth could be us meeting in the middle. But I understand that kids that are disadvantaged need more materials and things like that. But I guess I would have liked to have heard that at the community meeting. So you're right. You should have been invited.
So possibly something that we could come to a conclusion on for future would be realizing that there are different views from different community members, whether socially economic classes, but also race and gender. And I think that something that we could apply to circumstances like this in the future would be focusing on those in the beginning. So like you mentioned, inviting other community members, whether their stake in the community might be small in comparison to you, sir, with your large corporations. A way to potentially resolve conflict in the future might be integrating different views and seeing how those affect one another in the beginning. Is there any other comments that either one of you would like to make about the discussion we had today?
Well, I thought it was a very helpful discussion. It was, very informational about how our dynamics are different, but have an impact, an equal impact on the community and the development. So that was very helpful.
Well, thank you both for meeting with me today and for bringing to the table interesting and differing perspectives. And thank you both for being respectful of one another, but also communicating your beliefs and your interests.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we are going to be facilitating our social work discussion.
As social workers, we can demonstrate our use of the conflict theory in practice by first recognizing that there are impacts such as barriers for clients, whether it's social, cultural, or economic, and that can also validate and educate them on the power dynamics and the difference in power dynamics that would give them a sense of how the mechanics of social constructs work. So,
going off of that, there are a few potential change strategies for the community based on the tables in the book, and I think one of those that we focused on was having a central place, like a community center, to house these discussions that we were even talking about in the role play that can really include multiple types of community members, and then also utilizing things like surveys and discussing community morale in response to change, but also about potential change.
okay, that's great.
So ways to evaluate those changes is, so we mentioned community meetings, community engagement, so we could take an attendance more or less of those community meetings and see if every sort of person is represented, people in power, people in business, community members, things like that. You can also see if the proposed changes are being enacted, like, if they want to improve the schools, are there efforts being made to improve the schools?
Mm-hmm.
And then less formally, you could do, you could talk to community members, do an informal survey, just check in with folks.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a good way to measure whether things are happening.
Yeah, and I think we can utilize conflict theory in practice and as we applied it into the case scenario that we role played and also in our discussion together as social workers.
Okay, that's
Okay.
great. I learned a great deal about the conflict theory and how it will impact my clients and my potential clients, so that was good information.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.